matters as to what, or prevents anything of what happened later, but was it some sort of a special occasion? I mean, was it somebody's...
No, that I posed that question.
A couple of them out and they sent a couple of...
It started with Malazzo and Jeremy. They decided that they were going to go out, and they started texting other people that normally go out with them, and they all decided to meet at Legends.
It kind of grew. Because my concern was, you know, is this like a monthly thing for them, or
like a choir practice?
Yeah, you know.
We used to call it FOP meeting.
Yeah.
That's why they don't have 6 or 7 people that go now.
Times have changed.
But here's the problem. Even after this guy was issued a summons on the 15th of December, they had a little gathering New Year's Eve at the club, and this guy sold them some alcohol at a discounted price. So they still...
Was it a private party?
I guess.
It was New Year's Eve night?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to tell you, Hargrave contacted us about filing a complaint saying that you went to city court with Billy Picard trying to interview him city marshal's office, trying to interview him at the city marshal's office with Billy Picard.
Mm-hmm.
That was his thing, and I said, well, we're going to need to come in and we're going to have to put it down on paper, but he's never come back.
Billy?
Billy Picard was there. I went there and met with Pope. And while I was there,
why did you go to city marshal?
I went there somewhere else, and I ran into Brian Pope there. And I asked him if he has that guy's number. Because the number he has listed is a number that he puts, to listen. So when I was talking with him, I said, listen, it would be in that guy's best interest to give me a call. I would hate to go at his bar on Friday, because I had planned on Friday night going and give him a summons there.
And have a few drinks?
No.
Free drinks. You get what he wanted behind the bar.
All right. So your recommendation on these guys who aren't forthcoming is an educational, some remedial training, or letter of caution. If I do a letter of caution, we have to do an investigation, I think. I mean, y'all weigh in?
I think
Well, the problem is they all were afforded their Officer Bill of Rights at that time, so basically it's still considered an investigation. So whatever.
Well, it could be conduct sustained, not identified in the original complaint.
At some point, we have to deliver the message that, look, we can't just keep hitting the streets hard like this and ending up in a bar and drinking.
Look, maybe you can do that in a big city where they got a lot of cop bars and stuff, but people here in these bars, especially our contentious relationship with the bars downtown, know who our police officers are. They see them getting drunk. They see them stumbling out and driving away and all that shit.
Well, we were talking about that earlier.
That's the shit that comes back to haunt you in the city council meeting.
At what point is Brandon, I'm not saying he will, what if he decides he's going to call a favor? Or what if he's already being granted favors? What if people are turning the other cheek to certain things and stuff like that?
It would be kind of hard for him to call in a favor here. Because I don't think, what's going to happen is somebody would have to request that case not go forward. What I told Brandon when he called about being silent and all of that was, you go see your attorney, and you get your attorney to talk to the city prosecutor. I said, I'll be honest with you, I said, and I don't have the ordinances in front of me. I don't know if it's a violation or not. If you didn't charge for the alcohol, I'm not sure what the ordinance says, whether it just is consumption on premises after hours or, plus his story is kind of, I just walked across the street to Marley's. My bar was already closed. I was in there doing some work at my bar, and I walked across the street to Marley's to get me a Coke.
And those officers just stormed in, and you didn't tell them to get out.
Why wouldn't you get a Coke in your own bar where it's free?
Well, why wouldn't you stop them at the door and say, hey?
Chief, you remember that place on Congress Extension?
Four Seasons.
They was getting together after hours back there.
Yeah.
Drinking, and they were playing cards and stuff.
Four Seasons Lounge.
Was it Four Seasons? we sent some officers out there, and that was kind of not a landmark case, but that kind of went all the way through the system in the fact that he says, I can do whatever I want in my bar after hours, but he had patrons there. They may not necessarily have been paying for the alcohol, but they put money into the game, or maybe it's a different issue, but he was cited, and it upheld. Remember, there was a Milwaukee
Oh, C.J. Malonson.
C.J.
His
Milwaukee's
son, Sean or Shane Malonson.
Something like that.
Yeah, Shane Malonson. And that's the one where they had a letter from me,
Yes.
and they had cut and pasted it and reprinted it and left out the part about it is against the law to do this, and it looked like it was, that I had told them it was okay. And then when somebody would go in and question them, they'd show them the letter from me in a frame.
I think the
I sent IA over there to get it,
the initial
and
responding officers.
and when they went to get it, it was gone. They had taken it down.
I
off
want
the
to say it
wall.
was Norbert.
I want to say with
I thought
Norbert too.
I thought they had some incident there with Donald C.
Donald and Jarvis.
Jarvis was involved in some.
Oh, no, I think it was at, Reed's, I wanna say.
I thought it was 4C.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Down
I think
that
it was
past
Four
Rudy's
Seasons.
house?
Yeah.
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 I think it was there. They had a card game and Donald got jammed
You're
up
right.
somehow.
Well, first of all, I think the complaint on Jeremy is sustained, and I think, I've already told the mayor to set a predetermination hearing. We can't make a DWI case on him, and I know we just gave Hardy a suspension for being drunk. Well, Hardy says he was not intoxicated, he was inebriated. When I asked him to tell me the difference, he just said he knew he wasn't driving drunk.
Yeah, but it's a category 1.
No, it's at least a suspension. Isn't it?
Uh-uh.
For category 1?
Let a reprimand.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you list one violation, there's more than one violation.
Oh, you multi-billing them? I'm just...
Let's send him to 15
Here's the
JDC.
problem.
Uh-huh.
If we don't, we got, in civil service, that issue was raised with Terry Head's case. They said, Kelly had listed 2 violations when he wrote the report. And so he said the general orders that may apply are, and I just saw the first one, and he had the second one, turned the page, and it was like half a page. So when I turned the page, I did this, and I didn't see anything. But he had actually addressed both general orders in his investigation, and I didn't mention both general orders in the predetermination hearing, and that's one of the things they challenged us on. Of course, he lost the hearing and he lost his appeal.
Yeah.
But so now we have to read them in the predetermination hearing every general order that applies, every one of them.
And that was done, as a matter of fact, yesterday, covered.
So out of these officers, I want to make sure I got them right. Nathaniel Baptiste, Bart Ryder, Stephen Lopez.
Bart
Bart left.
with Milazzo in this
What
one.
I want to know is who's the
Bart.
officers that were not forthcoming? Which one?
That's the issue I wanted.
You have Lopez.
Because Bridget did tell you they were going to hunt. Did Brittany Dugas tell you?
Nope.
Nope.
You have Lopez, Dugas, Brock, Ross Saunier, Hardy,
Joel.
and Grayson. How many of this? That's
So
7?
it's 1, 2,
Okay, so let's do it
3,
again. You got Lopez,
6, 7.
Yeah, that's
Brock
it.
Richard, Bart Ryder. What about Bart Ryder?
No, Bart left, when he left Legends, he went home.
Okay, so you got Lopez, Richard, Hardy,
Brittany.
Dugas,
Dugas, Ross Saunier,
and Grayson.
Milazzo.
Milazzo wasn't there.
No,
Milazzo wasn't there.
All right, and Jeff Hebert was the officer who responded. Greg Randall responded. Here's the, what about Dustin Laverne
No, he was the officer that
Responding
responded the
officer.
following morning.
and Joel Grayson?
Joe Grayson.
Joe Grayson who was there too. Here's the,
He ended up being the driver or something?
No, he followed Ross Saunier home
Oh.
after he
but he
fell.
was in City Ball?
Yep.
Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these people were in City Bar and were serving drinks and knew they would...
It should be 7.
Who's the other one?
You have Joel, Nathaniel,
Bridget,
Oh, Nathaniel Baptiste.
Nathaniel Baptiste was there?
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, and I didn't read every statement, but you didn't, when you asked them if they, did you ask them specifically if they were served drinks or bought drinks?
No.
Huh? No?
That came to light when
At the end of the-
Bridget, right.
Well, then I guess my point would be, how can we say this is sustained misconduct if they weren't, they said, well, he never asked me about. I think Bridget volunteered that.
That's-
It's a technicality.
I'd have said, there's 1 or 2 that I interviewed that stated that they brought alcohol from Marley's over there, and the question came about drinking in that, so they were asked pretty much,
Here's
were
one,
you drinking in
here's one
there?
statement here from Stefan Lopez. He advised that he assumed that officers were still consuming alcohol in City Bar.
He assumed.
Yeah,
That means he was too.
that means maybe he
Yeah.
saw that they were and they continued. I mean, grasping at things possibly, but I understand where you're
That's why
going.
I say, do we make this a training issue, do we make it a disciplinary issue? I mean, when we're talking about, you know,
And when you're saying discipline,
well,
where do you,
letter of caution is not discipline. So,
Kind of like
I mean,
a warning. I mean, you're
It's
saying.
less than a counseling point.
well, you still can do a letter of caution and discipline, training.
No, they're gonna have to,
should
we're
make
gonna
them
have a
sit
little
through-
meeting.
Would you make them sit through 8 hours of training on some general orders and their ethics?
What it can say.
Well, you know, they always complain about shotgun approach. I think with this issue and a lot of others from last year, I think this thing needs to be department-wise, because a lot of officers don't realize some of the actions they're doing, what can happen.
I agree, I think that the officers who have been on the road for 3 or 4 years and forgot what they learned in FTO are not thinking about those things anymore now that they're more comfortable working on their own and working the streets. They've been involved in incidents, they feel they're pretty knowledgeable and experienced. So that's who needs remedial, and I think you're right, I think it needs to be done throughout the entire department.
You said should or should not?
Well, my only point is if you do them, single them out, it's kind of a remedial training for your actions.
Well, we do that in car crashes. You gotta go to defensive drive it if you got a crash. We single you out with your actions.
I think we
Get
should single
remedial
them out in
training.
this too.
Oh, you think we should single them
Yeah,
out?
we should single
But
them
I'm
out.
saying that I'm agreeing with Greg that
The whole
this is a
Oh, yeah,
department-wide
yeah, I agree with
issue.
that. I just think
So-
we should do them
Do both.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can do
all
both.
together in one big classroom.
Yeah. All right, well, we're gonna do, I'll have them set up the, had you gotten an extension on this?
Yes.
Okay. So the deadline is not until February 4th, but I'm gonna try and get his predetermination hearing set up pretty quickly. I think I have one more case in there that we can probably set 2 in 1 day range.
Yeah. And also,
Red, you just took an
I
ethics
sent an
class at
email to-
Quantico, you can give him that assignment right there.
Also gave,
And I can
He
give
might
him,
need a little bit himself.
I can give him a guy in Colorado. He'll be more than happy to assist him. Oh, that guy was good.
I think we need.
Who's he with?
Colorado Springs PD.
Request, but I think somebody.
But he used to be with Houston.
We need them good.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, you're right, what they do in there is just not
Yeah.
It's
enough.
the ones that are severe.
Well, between what little bit they
Well,
get
what
in
you
the
gotta
academy,
look at,
what little
it'll
bit they
tell
get in
you on your
IPT,
paper.
and anything
You
that's
get that
passed on
paper.
before they
It'll
get
tell
cut
you.
loose, they don't do. I
This
mean,
is their first
you go
preventable
through ethics,
accident or
don't you
whatever.
guys teach it in in-service?
Then they're eligible to
Nope.
waive
Teaches
the
that.
predetermination
Well,
hearing.
The trading guys,
Now, I
So,
sent
yeah.
them the notices that
We
you
were
may
talking
wanna
about it
have
earlier,
here.
who's delivering it,
And we did,
how
and
it's
and that's the ones
delivered.
I'm talking about, we're gonna set up.
I think goes towards
checked
how
mine
much is
one day.
absorbed and how much they take with them.
I'll send it to Ned,
You know,
and I told him to get back
Like you
with me
said,
on it, but.
it says it all the
listed
time, so
the
it
reason
loses
why we need
credibility.
Each one of those
But if you
predeterminations.
get
And, he can
other
just go
people
back
in there,
Yeah.
maybe people that aren't frequently up front saying these things,